What's going on, guys? This is Aaron from Departures Capital, and we're here with Alan Pangbourne, President and Chief Executive Officer at Chesapeake Gold. It's a pleasure to have you on today, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm really well. How are you today?
I'm great. Excited to be talking about the company. So can you start by giving us an introduction to Chesapeake Gold, along with telling us a bit more about the company?
Sure. So Chesapeake Gold is a development company, gold and silver focused. We have a very large deposit in Mexico, over 20 million ounces of gold and 500 million ounces of silver. When I joined the company, we came with a private company that has a technology that allows us to change how we recover that refractory gold. It's not been done in the gold industry, but the copper industry has been doing it for over 30 years. And it effectively uses 90% less power, 90% less water, and there's no tailings dam. So we'd like to call it green gold because it is using so much less resources to get the same result, which is recover that gold and silver. And it's obviously much cheaper in the process.
So can you tell us more about your drill program and what you have planned for this year?
Sure. So 2021, 2022, when we first joined, the first thing we did was we needed to drill some holes to get some material for the metallurgical test program, because at the end of the day, the technology is metallurgically based. We drilled those holes, and to our surprise, we got an 18% increase in grade when compared to the block model. And we went, that's nice. So we got some more money from the board, and we went and drilled another 18 holes, taking us to 23. And surprise, surprise, we got the same uplift in grade in that central core. It was something we thought might be there. And so we spent most of last year trying to understand why, what changed, what's different, is it real, done all your QA, QC checks to make sure that it's real. And we hope to get that new resource statement out literally in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We're finishing it off now. Once we've got that finished, press release done, all the rest of it, we'll get it out either before the BMO conference that we've been invited to, or before PDAC, and we're working on that. The rest of 2023, in 2022, we put out the results from our what we call our proof of concept. We've got this concept that we can heap leach this stuff. Nobody's done it in the gold industry. So we did some tests in the lab, showed that we could change gray rock to brown rock, and we put out the results to that in August, September last year. So the focus for the rest of this year is to understand how we can tweak that process, because we got 60% recovery. That was over a base of about 30. So we know it improved. We just didn't quite get to what we were chasing in the PEA. So this year, focus on what levers can I pull to improve that recovery, just to inch it up a bit so that the PEA really does reflect what we can do.
Should be an exciting year for you guys. So Chesapeake owns the Matias Project located in Durango State, Mexico. Matias is one of the largest undeveloped gold and silver deposits in the world, as you just mentioned. Can you tell us more about this project and what you really have planned for it?
So like I said, it's big. If you ever look for largest undeveloped gold, silver projects in the world, Matias shows up in the top 10. So it's a massive resource endowment. Many of our shareholders actually hold the shares because of that endowment and the leverage to the metal price. We came in with this new technology. We were deliberately looking for a smaller project that would be financeable, deliverable, and operable. And then importantly, once we've got it up and running, expandable by ourselves. The original project on the resource that large needed billions and billions of dollars to develop it. We've got a project, as we showed in the PEA, $360 million. That is financeable by a company our size. The other project wasn't. So we've got a stepping stone. Build the first one, get it up, get it running, then look at expanding once, twice, whatever, using this technology, which, as I said, lower capital, lower operating costs, lower power, lower water. It's almost nirvana, yeah, but it really is something new to the industry.
It's a great plan. So tell us more about your strategic shareholders, including Eric Sprott, because I know he's one of them.
So there's, I guess, 3 or 4 of us that I guess you'd consider as strategic shareholders. Eric Sprott is the largest one. He's got about 8.5 million shares or so, 8.5 million shares. He funded the company. He put in $20 million or so back in August of 2020. And then Peter Palmetto is also a large shareholder. That's Sun Valley Gold. They tend to be an ounce in the ground holder. He's been in the project for a long, long time. He's got about 7-point-something shares. I personally own over 11% of the company, 7.45 million shares. And then Randy Reifel, the founder and the current chair, owns about 4.4 million shares. So those are our 4 biggest individual shareholders. And, 2 of us are insiders.
Mm-hmm. It's nice to see management with skin in the game for sure. So since 1990,
I'm very aligned with shareholders, believe me, because I am one, and a significant one.
No, for sure. When I saw that, I was like, wow. So since 1993, Chesapeake's management team has a successful track record of working in the Americas. We all know how important it is to have a highly experienced management team. Can you tell us more about your key members and what they bring to the table?
So, sometimes it sounds a little trite, but even the ability to speak Spanish. Yeah, I've lived and worked in multiple South American countries. I'm married to a Latina. I'm fluent in Spanish. I've worked in the mining industry my entire career, either building projects or operating them. I used to be the COO at SSR Mining, and we took that company from sub 100,000 ounces to over 450,000 over 5 years, buying and fixing assets. That was our business model: buy them and fix them. Gary Parkinson, who's the VP technical, he's been with Cambior and then with Chesapeake and knows. He's a library of information about projects in the Americas. Yeah. Eric Underwood and I used to work together back in BHP. He was the CFO at a copper project and then came and joined me. He's worked with mid-tiers, small companies, and BHP, the largest in the industry. Similarly, I have as well. So we've got people that have got language skills, technical skills, country skills. When I was with SSR, we had a project in Durango in Mexico. So I've still got a wide network of contacts in the state where our project is now. And I go down to Mexico occasionally and I keep in touch with them all. Last time I was there, I met with the president and secretary of the Ejido, the local community leaders, met with the new governor, met with the new minister of mines in Durango. And some of the people that I've got contacts with help me get those meetings. So it's not just one thing. It's a team thing, and there's a whole bunch of us that have worked in these sorts of environments before.
Yeah, it sounds like quite a unique skill set of people. So what makes Chesapeake such a unique company compared to all the other gold and silver projects out there? Let us know.
The technology to treat refractory sulfides and our green credentials: 90% less power, 90% less water, no tailings dam. That should make permitting way, way easier. Everybody's worried about their carbon emissions, and more so. Every local community is concerned about water supply and water quality and potential contamination. If you use less, that's got to be a plus. Mm-hmm. And tailings dams. Nobody wants to live near a tailings dam, given recent events around the world where they failed. So all of those, again, you put those together, and then it's a massive deposit. It will be there for decades. Phase 1 life of mine is 31 years. That's just to start.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. So let's talk about valuation now. So Chesapeake is trading at an extremely low EV to ounce basis compared to its peers. Can you tell us more about this?
I guess it's partly it's because it's historic. It's been around for a long time. They did a conventional study and a conventional development path that was very difficult to believe would ever be economic. When you've got $2, $3, $4 billion worth of capital, even though it's a big deposit, Chesapeake, as the company it is and was, can't do it. We just can't. You cannot raise that sort of money the size of company we are. It's just not possible. So you always needed a partner. Why would anybody partner with us when they could just buy us out? Right? So it was always going to be one day Barrick, Newmont, Newcrest no longer, Goldcorp no longer. But, you know, one of the majors that sits there and says, I need 500,000 ounce a year, and I'm prepared to use an autoclave and build it, and I understand that technology. That didn't happen. Yeah, the big miners stubbed their toes, to be honest, on some large projects and started backing away from doing that sort of thing. And so when we came up with a totally different approach, start smaller, something we can do, something we can deliver, something we can finance, get going, then expand. And if you actually look at the very big mines in the world, they've all been developed like that. Escondida had 8 expansions from day one. Took them over 20 years to build it out to the size it is today. Bingham Canyon was the same. Chuquicamata was the same. Teniente was the same. All of these mega projects, Grasberg was another one. None of them built to full size day one. We're not going to. But that means that a smaller company like us can get in the game, can become a producer, and then expand. Yeah. And so I think the low valuation is because that hangover of, well, Chesapeake can never do it. Somebody's got to buy them. Market's not buying them. Well, until recently. Yeah, recently you've started to see a bit more M&A action.
Definitely. So we hope that continues, and hopefully for a strong gold market to come. So on that topic, gold has performed well so far this year, despite the little correction that we just saw. But what's your outlook on the market moving forward for gold? How do you feel about it for this year?
I think it's not just gold, it's commodities. Yeah, for decades and decades, there's been a lack of capital investment in primary commodity development, whether that's copper, gold, silver, nickel, you name it. It's become harder and harder to develop them. There's been less and less capital available to develop them. And prices are correspondingly creeping up, whether, you know, it's copper over $4 or nickel over 10, or I looked at tin the other day, $29,000 a ton. Last time I looked at a tin project, it was $5. So you know, I think it's not just gold. I think you can add to gold the fear factor and the devaluation of fiat currencies. The store of wealth. You know, from a volume perspective, yeah, you can put an ounce of gold in your pocket and it's worth $2,000. Yeah, you can't put an ounce of what else can you put in your pocket that's worth $2,000? Yeah, so from a store of wealth point of view, you know, last time we saw a commodity boom after the crash, the global financial crisis, people in China were buying and burying copper cathodes, nickel cathodes, just as it's a commodity, store of wealth. It doesn't rot, it doesn't go off, it doesn't have a use by date on it. And gold can fit in there as well, except it has a higher unit value. So it's easier to store. Yeah. And if you look at interest rates versus inflation, you're still running negative real rates. So not only is your money getting chewed away by inflation, the interest rates that are going up aren't compensating you for it yet. So gold is a better holder of value in that environment. And I think that's partly why you've seen this increase in gold, and more so away from the US dollar. Other currencies are seeing record high gold values. Yeah. It's only the US dollar that seems to be bouncing around. Yeah. So I'm bullish.
Me too. We'll see what happens for this year. We'll have to have you back on and check in on the price then. So where should investors go for more information on the company?
Well, obviously, the obvious place is our website, which is www.chesapeakegold.com. We trade on the market as CKG. So if you want to look at where our trading is, volumes and prices, we trade on the Toronto Stock Exchange Ventures Board and also on the OTB from memory. I can't remember the symbol, but it's on there. And you know, on our website, there's videos like this one. There's obviously our corporate presentation, all of our financial information. That's the other thing I didn't mention. We've still got over $25 million of cash in the bank. So we're not running around looking for money to keep going. We've got enough money to fund us for at least another 2, maybe 3 years. Yeah. So, and if you're at BMO or PDAC, drop me a line. Happy to catch up with people.
That's great, Alan. Well, thanks for all those updates, and best of luck with your project. We look forward to having you back on later this year.
Thank you, Aaron.
If you like these videos, kindly hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications. Drop us a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. And finally, always remember, Departures Capital is for information, education, and entertainment purposes only. Don't buy or sell a stock because you heard it on here. Buy or sell a stock because you've done your research, you've done your thorough due diligence, and you're making your own personal investment decisions for yourself. This video is not financial advice. Furthermore, this video may or may not have been sponsored by the companies that we've profiled within this video, and we may or may not own shares of any of the profiled companies in this video. If you want to know the full disclosure details, check the description down below along with thoroughly reading our disclaimer. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.